Hi, Jess. Um, Here we go. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Give it another minute or so, and we will get started here. Thank you for being on time. Okay. Alrighty, let's jump in as people trickle in. Thank you for being here. My name is Jake Paleo, and welcome to Villa's webinar, where we are going to talk about ADUs. A little bit about myself. I'm a home consultant here at Villa. Been with the company since 2020, for a little over 3 years now, and started as a home consultant. And in 2021, went over to the construction side, became a construction manager for most of the year, and then came back to the home consultant side, which is what I do love to do. So hopefully, if you like what you see here today, someone like me will take you through our feasibility study. And I want to kind of cover the agenda with you today. We are going to be looking at the basics of the ADU. What is an ADU? What rules and regulations California has surrounding ADUs. We will talk about our products and our process as well, and how you can get started. And for those of you that stick around to the end, we do have an exclusive deal for you, as well as a live Q&A. There is a Q&A box down at the bottom there, you'll see. And if you punch in questions, Jess is in the background and she will be answering them live. However, if it's a question that maybe is a little more general, that everybody should hear the answer to, she'll leave it for me to answer at the end. So feel free to drop them in as we go along there. But what qualifies as an ADU? An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. It is an accessory to the primary home or multifamily complex, which means that the piece of property does have to have a primary home in order to build an ADU. It is equipped with a dedicated entrance, egress, cooking space, sanitation, and sleeping space. With most jurisdictions, we can build up to 1,200 square feet. There are some that limit us to 1,000 square feet. And then also, there are what are called junior ADUs, which are units that are built up to 500 square feet. Most of the time, they're in a conversion of a garage or a space maybe that's not used on the primary home. But those would need to be built as well with a separate sanitary and sleeping space. The ADUs are typically connected to the main dwelling's utilities. So if you have a sewer line that's running, from your home out to the street, that's something that we would connect into, or electrical or water. We do have the option to have separate meters on our units, and if that's something that you're interested in doing, that's something that we can explore through our permitting process. The ADUs also typically require a separate address. All but maybe a couple of the jurisdictions that we work in will allow for that. Some of them, just a couple of them do not. And then, as I mentioned, ADUs can be converted from a garage, but that is not a scope of work that we handle. However, if you are looking to, use a current space that you currently are not, and want to turn it into a unit, that is something that can be explored by you as well. California rules and regulations back in 2020, a few of them went into place where they allow now for a homeowner to build an accessory dwelling unit as well as a junior accessory dwelling unit, as long as either the main home, the ADU, or the junior ADU are occupied by the homeowner. The jurisdictions now have 60 days to approve permits, where that time frame was reduced from who knows how long. There are still some jurisdictions that drag their feet, but we put the pressure on them using California's assembly bills that were passed back in 2020. There are no parking requirements if your home is within a half mile of a public transit. And then again, the owner occupancy laws, you can have a rental property and build an ADU on it. You just would be limited to the one unit, and wouldn't be allowed to build a junior ADU and an ADU. As far as the setbacks go, some jurisdictions used to require 20 feet from a side and rear property line, and a lot of properties in California that wouldn't even allow for us to consider a conversation of building an ADU. Now we can go to as little as 4 or 5 feet from the side and rear setbacks. Front yard ADUs are now possible as well. There is one assembly bill that does allow for us to build in the front yard with a pretty close setback if there are no other spaces on the property that we can build. This is a survey that was generated by a third party asking homeowners who actually have an ADU currently what their top reasons for having the ADU or their uses for the ADU. So as you can see, a majority there, or I should say, yeah, the higher percentage there is the increase in the home's overall square footage, which I thought was interesting. As we deal a lot with customers that are looking to boost their return on investment with a long-term or short-term rental. But also that 61% with multi-generational housing is something that is great for, I think, everyone involved with projects, that you're really keeping families together, but also still giving them their separate space. As far as our homeowners go, we have a ton of projects, which we're going to call that number out here in a little bit, but ranging from the Bay Area, North Bay, all the way down to the South Bay, and all the way down to Los Angeles and San Diego, or I should say even Santa Barbara down to San Diego. So we do have a pretty wide stretched area that we cover. And just some of our homeowners here, very happy customers who have done business with us in the past, stuck it out with us through the thick and thin. Some jurisdictions aren't always the most pleasant to deal with, but we stick it out and we see to it that our customers are happy with the end result. And these reviews can be seen on our website, also online in various outlets. As far as our product and what sets us apart from other builders, we are the #1 ADU provider in California with over 250 homes installed throughout California. We will be the turnkey solution that takes you through the design, permitting, build, and install of your unit, handling that every step of the way. Neighborhood friendly, and what that means is that we are a prefab builder. So we actually aren't making all that noise of hammers and nails and saws on site, waking up your neighbors at the crack of dawn. No, we still have on-site work with a foundation and with utilities, but much less disruptive than a traditional stick-built unit. As we are building that unit off-site in a factory in a climate-controlled environment, and then bringing it in where it is already 75, 85% complete, and putting it on our foundation where we then finish off the work. Villa's prefab designs do offer something for everyone. We have units ranging from 440 square feet all the way up to 1,200 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, all the way up to 3 bedroom, 2 baths. So these are full-size homes, and very good designs that maximize the square footage, and really cater to your uses as well. We have a few different series, one that's being introduced here soon, but the H series is our best selling. It is the most customizable unit and the one we've been selling the longest. With the C series now getting a lot of traction, it is a series that's built out of a factory called Cavco in Arizona, and they do a wonderful job. They are the second largest, I believe, builder of prefabricated homes in the country. So definitely know what they're doing. We now have quite a few of those installed in the Bay Area, which is exciting. The new launch is coming soon for our Comfort series. This will offer a lot more accessibility, if you will. roll-in shower, bathroom grab bars, designed for limited mobility. We have wider doors, we have wider hallways, just very well thought out floor plans, and we are going to be releasing 3 of them. The launch date, I believe, is in March, so stay tuned for that. But we'll have the ability to build, a ramp that's ADA compliant. So it's very accessible for those that want to age in place, and a very well thought out product. So why Chooseville? I already mentioned some of the features and benefits, but ultimately, when we are, as a company, when you get started with us, you are in good hands. We are looking out for your best interest, and we want to build a unit that's right for you. We aren't going to push you into something that does not make sense. We have a great product. We have a wonderful team and a wonderful process, but we don't always have the solution for everyone. And I like to emphasize that with my clients, that I'm here to help you get what is best for your situation. But if we do find something that works well, I think that you will be happy, as we do offer a variety of design options and floor plans, really trying to cater to everyone, and including with the new series that is being released. All-in costs are typically less than a custom builder, stick builder. And we see this pretty much in every jurisdiction that we work with. Pre-approved HUD plans, housing urban development, which means that we have quicker permitting times. The cities don't have as much authority over what we can and can't do with a housing or HUD code approved unit, which is at a federal level. As far as the building is concerned, they still approve the foundation and our utility infrastructures, but as far as the way the home is built, which is to a very high standard. Because it is built in a factory and this is a manufactured product, as I mentioned, you're not listening to the noise of all that, but also it's going to expedite the time in which we are able to build. Now, 11 months is a typical timeline for us to set for our customers. You'll go through a feasibility study, which is that green box up there on the top left, which we can generate a proposal within a couple of weeks. And ultimately, after some changes or what have you, we can get you into permitting, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And that permitting timeline can be shorter. In certain jurisdictions, it can be longer. It really just depends. We do deal with some difficult jurisdictions that can push that out a little bit, just being upfront about that. And so if you're curious about that, definitely get started with our process, and we can shed a little bit of light on that for you. But this is a time in which we are generating reports. We're calling on third parties to generate reports, putting together a plan set to submit to the city, and ultimately fighting on your behalf to get that approved. At which point, once we have an approved plan, we can firm up our costs at what's called authorization to build. So what we generate for you in the feasibility study is a budget that we believe this project could cost, and it comes in a range that is very comprehensive. Once we get those permits approved and we're able to actually get costs together from our contractors, that's when we can finalize those numbers. And ultimately, we want to move into the next phase, which is our construction phase, where we are manufacturing your home offsite, and simultaneously we can get started with the site work, in which then can expedite this process in terms of building it out. If you want to move fast, we have units that are already built, what we refer to as our ready-built units, and those can be viewed on our website. What you'll see on there is a price that will be negotiated down, as we are offering some pretty significant savings for those that are able to move forward with the unit that is a ready-built unit. So if you are interested in moving fast and you get started with our process, definitely bring that up if your home consultant doesn't already bring it up with you. If you need financing, we do not have any in-house financing, but we do have lender partners that we trust, in which we can get you in touch with, that work really well with us and are very familiar with our process. How our process works. So basically, I mentioned this feasibility study. You can first get a free estimate on our website by going to villahomes.com and punching in your address. You'll be prompted to do that. And it'll ask some questions about your property and kind of give you a ballpark. And this is not an exact cost, nor is it going to match the exact budget range that we give you when you go through the feasibility study. And that's why I do encourage people to do this. If you're building with us or anybody else, this is a great way to get a ton of information. We are going to generate a site plan for you from a third party, other reports that could really help get you kickstarted in the direction with building an ADU, again, whether it's with us or somebody else. But you'd be working with someone like me, where we would be coming up with a fine-tuned budget range based on the unique needs and chosen upgrades. So some of these things are going to be in your control, like the upgrades that you go with on your unit. But some of the stuff is out of your control based on the conditions of your site, the slope. Are you on septic? Do you need to have a pool filled in or anything like that? We really can be responsible for all of these things. Once you have signed and moved into the permitting phase, as I mentioned on that timeline, we are going to work really diligently to get a plan set submitted and get it approved. And at which point we can then move into the authorization to build, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're presented with a cost of your project, a contract that you would sign, authorizing us to build your ADU and ultimately get started and finish up with the site work as well. What's included in this feasibility study, just a rundown list here. As I mentioned, the custom site plan that we order from a third party that is very detailed, and we can site out units that you're interested in, coming up with multiple scenarios. If you're interested in comparing multiple prices of different size units, we can certainly do that as well. We are going to look at the setbacks, look for easements, things like that on your property, and really find the true buildable area, as well as the engineering research. So we have a team on the back end that's, you may or may not come into contact with, but know that they are going to be looking at your site in full detail. Not always do we need to have a site visit, but if we think it's necessary, maybe it's a tricky delivery or slope or something like that, we can have a construction manager visit your site and really just get some eyes on the site to understand your property better. But the permitting team behind the scenes, they're going to be contacting the jurisdiction early on, looking up building codes and things like that to really find out what it's going to take. And we're coming up with this conceptual idea of what this project could look like. However, it isn't going to be 100%. That's why we need to go into that permitting phase in order to find out, all of the answers that we are looking for. During that feasibility study, though, we will design your unit together, go through all of the fixtures and finishes, what makes sense if you're doing it for a rental, if you're doing it for a family member. We want to speak to those design choices a little bit more and ultimately come up with that fine-tuned budget range. So giving you somewhat of a lower number, like this is what it could possibly be, but we don't want to shy away from those items that could be necessary if the jurisdiction pushes back. And ultimately coming down to the timeline based on the unit that you select, the factory that we're building out of, your location will determine some of that as well. And we will speak to that as well during the feasibility study. So again, at our website, villahomes.com, you can get a free estimate. This is just a nice little demonstration of what you'll go through and choosing the unit size and what fits on your property. Going through the design selections, this will be saved. As you move into the feasibility study, we will go through these in better detail. Are you gonna let me? There we go. And so that kind of concludes everything for now, but we would like to speak to you more about this. If you like everything that you've seen today, the special offer that we have is a $250 discount off of that feasibility study. And so if you go to the website and go through the free estimate, it will ask you if you want to submit your deposit to get the feasibility study going. Just remember this code, Villa 250. That's all uppercase, Villa 250. and it will discount $250. If you want more information before getting started, you can also have fill out your information and have a sales development rep contact you. They can give you an assessment of your property, again, pretty high level, but at least they'll have some good questions for you and answer any questions that you might have, and really start to shape what your project could look like. Also, what we're offering, since you've joined this webinar, if you go into the feasibility study, pay your $250. At the end of that, once you have your proposed range budget, we will offer a $5,000 discount from your design choices. And that would be applied not only on your project services agreement, which I'm getting ahead of myself here, but also on your authorization to build. So this is a true discount. We want to say thank you for sitting through the webinar. These are ways in which we reach our customers. So we spend our marketing dollars to see you guys and talk to you on these webinars, and we want to ultimately say thank you by offering some discounts. I see that we don't have any questions. Hopefully they've all been answered. So I do appreciate everybody who's joined today, and we look forward to working with you. Hopefully, a lot of this makes sense and we can help you out in building your ADU. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we look forward to working with you.